welcome to my channel, and today I will show you how to crochet a basket using such a pattern that can remind you of pine cones. So that's why we call it like this. But if you don't agree, write in comments what do you think about it, what this pattern reminds to you. And let's start. It will be a round basket, so first what we need to do is to crochet an ordinary circle that will be the bottom of the future basket. As you can see, I've already crocheted, and if you don't know how to crochet a circle, I will leave here in the corner a link to my tutorial about crocheting a perfect circle, where I show and explain everything very clearly and in detail. So you can watch that video and crochet a circle and then come back to this video to continue crocheting the basket. You can crochet as many rows in your circle as you want, depending on the size of the basket that you want to get in the end. But after you crochet the last row of the circle, don't join it and just come back to this video, because we are going to join it and start crocheting the walls of the basket at the same time without cutting the yarn. After you crochet your circle, I advise you to do wet hot treatment with an iron. Thanks to it, the shape of the circle will look better, flatter, and you will also have the opportunity to fix it a little by squeezing or stretching some stitches, some parts of the circle by your hands while it's hot and wet. But don't forget to put some material between an iron and the circle. It's very important. If you want, you can also put the circle under some press for several hours to save the effect obtained even better. All this applies not only to this circle, but also to almost anything that you crochet with t-shirt yarn. So now we will join the last row of the circle and start crocheting the walls of the basket at the same time without cutting the yarn. For that, make your loop on the hook a little bit bigger. Now we need to insert the hook under the first stitch of the last row of the circle from the back side. So here's our last row, and this was our first stitch of this row. We insert the hook from the back side under this first stitch. Then we hook our loop and bring it to the back side. Now leave this loop on the hook, and we will insert the hook into the same loop, but here. So here's our loop. We will insert the hook in the middle of this loop that we've just brought to the back side. So this is our loop. It goes there and here. You can insert the hook into it. Like this. Now we will insert the hook in the middle of this stitch between these two strands of the yarn, right here. And from the back side, it will come also in the middle of the stitch between these two strands of the yarn and under this bump. Now hook the working yarn and take a loop Now we need to change the position of the hook. we should insert it from this side, here and here. And now we push this loop through this one. This is what we've got. We've joined the last row of the circle and we've made the first stitch of our walls, of the first row of the walls. The whole first row of the walls we will crochet with single crochet. Here we have such stitches all the way around the circle, so we will insert the hook under the back loop of these stitches, only under the back loops, and also under these bumps. So back loop and bump, back loop and the bump. So to the next, into the next stitch, under the back loop and under the bump. Hook the yarn, take a loop, hook the yarn, push it through both loops on the hook. Just a normal single crochet. Into the next one, under the back loop, under the bump, and single crochet. Into the next one. And continue crocheting this row, making single crochet all the way around, and in the end I will show you how we will join this row and how we will start the second one. And the last single crochet in the first row. We have finished the first row of the walls of the basket. Now we will join this row and start the second one. For that we make the loop on the hook a little bit bigger. Now we need to insert the hook under the stitch of the first single crochet in this row. So here was our first single crochet. You remember that this stitch we've got when we've joined the last row of the circle and started the first row of the walls. So this is not a single crochet. Then we've made the first single crochet, this V and this V on top. So this is the stitch of the first single crochet. We insert the hook under this first stitch from the back side. Now we hook this loop and bring it back to the back side. Then we insert the hook under this loop like this. And into this loop. hook the working yarn, take a loop, hook the working yarn and push it through the loop on the hook. And we've started the second row. We've made the first stitch of the second row. And from this row, from the second row, we will start crocheting the pattern. Before we continue crocheting the walls, I advise you to hide this tip of the yarn under the stitches here, because it will be hard to do that when the basket will have the walls. I will use for that a needle with a big eye, and I will just push the tip under the stitches in different directions. And then just cut the yarn. And now we will start to crochet the pattern. Look, here we have this kind of V. Every single crochet has its V. So we will use this V now to crochet the pattern. We have here the first stitch of the second row. So this V that is near this stitch, this one, we skip this V and we start from this V, from the next one. We will insert the hook under this V, under the both strands of the yarn, like this. So this was our V. We insert the hook like this. Now we hook the working yarn and take a loop. Again, hook the yarn and push it through both loops on the hook. Now right here, right under the next stitch, we make a single crochet. Then again we skip this V that is near single crochet, this one we skip, and we will crochet under this V. So this one we skip and we insert the hook under this V. Then hook the yarn, take a loop, hook the yarn and push it through both loops on the hook. Now again, right under the next stitch, we make a single crochet, then we skip this V that is right near single crochet. Here's our single crochet and here's this V that we will skip, and we insert the hook under the next V. hook the yarn, take a loop, hook the yarn and push it through both loops on the hook. Again, right under the next stitch we insert the hook and we make here a single crochet. Now we skip this V near the single crochet and we insert the hook under the next V. And right under the next stitch we make a single crochet. And again we skip this one and insert the hook under the next V. And under the next stitch we make a single crochet. So continue doing the same steps all the way around, and in the end I will show you how we will join this row. And last stitches. And now we need to join the second row the same way. I will show again. We make the loop on the hook bigger. Then we need to insert the hook from the back side under the first stitch of this row. Remember that this stitch we've got when we've joined the first row. Now we hook the loop and bring it to the back side. Now we insert the hook under the stitch before this cone, so under this stitch, before the cone, this cone. And insert it into the loop. Then hook the yarn and take a loop, hook the yarn and push it through the loop on the hook. In the third row, we actually do all the same steps. So here we have V, so we insert the hook under this V, we do all the same steps, and now right under the next stitch we make a single crochet, the same as in the second row. Now again the next V, and a single crochet under the next stitch. next V here, and a single crochet under the next stitch. Next V, and a single crochet under the next stitch. So finish the third row the same way. And I finish the third row. And now we will join this row the same way as in the second one. We make the loop on the hook bigger. Then we insert the hook from the back side under the first stitch of this row. The first stitch was this one, because this stitch, it's like our single crochet, like this one. So the first stitch of the row is this one. So we insert the hook under the first stitch, hook the loop and bring it to the back side. Now insert the hook under the stitch before this cone. And insert the hook into this loop. Hook the yarn, take a loop, hook the yarn and push it through the loop on the hook. And we've started the fourth row. This is the first stitch. First, we insert the hook under the V, now we make a single crochet under the next stitch, then insert the hook under the next V, and a single crochet under the next stitch, now you see that everything looks the same as in the third row. We have here V, V, V. We have cones. So now finish this row and then make as many rows as you want. In the last row I will show you how to join this row and how to make the edge of the basket more beautiful. So I've crocheted 8 rows in my basket, including the first one that we made with a single crochet. And now we will join the last row in different way and crochet the edge of the basket. To do it as neat as possible, we should leave a long tip of the yarn and cut it. The length of this tip should contain 5 lengths of the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's leave a little bit more just in case, and we cut the yarn. So this long tip will be enough for us to finish our last row, to join it here, and to crochet the edge of the basket. Now pull out this tip and to join the last row, I will use a needle with a big eye, but you also can use your hook. Now we need to make the last stitch of this last row. So for that we insert our needle under the first stitch of this row, of the last row. This was our first stitch. And now we should bring the tip of the yarn to the same place where it comes from. So it comes here, from here. And we bring it back into the same stitch. And to the back side of the walls inside the basket. So here's our last stitch of the last row. And now we are starting to crochet the edge of the basket. So here's our tip. Now we skip this stitch that we've just made. Here, this one. So this stitch we skip and we insert the hook under the next stitch. Then hook the tip and take a loop. Now we will crochet just ordinary slip stitches under every stitch all the way around the walls of the basket. So insert the hook under the next stitch, hook the yarn and push it through the loop on the hook. the same way as we make a slip stitch. Under the next stitch, insert the hook, hook the yarn, and push it through the loop on the hook. Under the next one, so continue doing this all the way around the basket. And last stitches of the edge. Now we will make the last stitch the same way as we joined the last row of the walls. So pull out the tip, I will use a needle with a big eye again, but you also can use your hook. First we insert the needle under the first stitch of the edge. And now we bring it back to the same place where it comes from. So we would make the last stitch of the edge right here. And we have finished our basket, we have finished the edge of the basket. We only need to hide the tip of the yarn that's left under the stitches from the back side, from inside of the basket. Just push this tip under the stitches in different directions. And then cut the rest of the yarn. And our basket is ready. And about the size of the basket I've made, I used 7/9mm t-shirt yarn and a 7mm hook. In my circle I made 7 rows, so the diameter of the circle is 15.5 centimeters. And in the walls of the basket I've made 8 rows, so the height of the walls is 10 centimeters. So this is kind of reference point for you if you want to make a different size of a basket. And this is what's left from the whole bobbin of the t-shirt yarn after I crocheted this basket. I hope you like this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in comments and I will try to help you. And don't forget to leave your thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell not to miss my next tutorials. Thank you for watching and see you soon!